Sergeant's office.
Hey, Sarge. So, those raw signals availability procedures,
I'm sorry.
the raw signals intelligence availability procedures, are you aware that there's a clause in there about serious bodily harm towards people that you can be spied on domestically under federal statute? Do you understand that?
No, I don't.
Well, you should, because we've already heard that these guys want to round up their little posse and try to do something to me. So let me be real clear about it, okay? Let me ask you, and let's talk civilly, and I'm going to do my best with you. Why would you ask me why I care about a rape for somebody that I've known for 30 years?
Just a question.
Why wouldn't I care? You know, you're a cop. This is your job. I'm just wondering, like, why wouldn't I care?
Well, from the previous conversation, you reported to me that this happened to her when she was very young. She's now 39 years old.
No,
and
no,
she
no, no.
never reported it?
No. You misunderstood me. This has been happening since she was very young, and the most recent one was when she was 39 years old. She's 44. Okay?
Okay.
And so, you know, right now they're covering up for a rape that occurred, 5 years ago. And let me ask you something.
She's a grown woman. She should file charges then.
Okay, I'm telling you that she's under duress, okay? She's being threatened and intimidated not to report it, and that's why I'm doing it, okay? They won't even barely let her leave the fucking house, okay? So where do you get in where you fit in with somebody under duress about a rape? You know that they're covering up for it, and you know they're embedded in law enforcement. I mean, isn't that pretty odd?
Who is embedded in law enforcement?
I'm asking you. I mean, you are, aren't you? I mean, so I was real clear, wasn't I? Do you not know who Brian Gibbons was? Wasn't he like the pillar of the community? Wasn't he?
I have no idea what type of pillar of community or what he was, but...
Oh, you don't do secret handshakes then, huh? Really?
He was arrested, yeah.
Okay, well, there's no secret handshake clubs over here. Okay, and we don't give a flying shit about any of that. Okay, let me be real clear about it. Okay? And so, no disrespect, there's good people there. Okay, but if you're into the ritualistic stuff and all this like he was doing, I mean, they didn't put it in the context of that wording, but what they reported, like the Denton paper and the Dallas paper, this is ritualistic abuse that was going on with the victim. You know, a victim that he was sent to investigate. And so this is the same thing, okay? This is the same thing that you're doing to this witness, this subject of an investigation. You're not investigating it. You don't care that she's under duress. You don't care that she was raped 5 years ago. You don't care that her ex-cop stepdad, ooh, turn that off. Listen, turn that shit off. Do you hear me? You hear me? Sarge?
Are you talking to me?
Mm-hmm.
Turn what off?
Never mind. Did you see my point?
Well, like I said, if you have her call me, I'll be glad to talk to her as a victim.
Why don't you try to call her?
Well, we don't generally call and ask people in random houses if they're victims of a crime.
That's right. But when somebody when somebody gives you a statement that they're under duress, they're being bullied not to say anything, you should at least do a welfare check. I have the recordings of her saying that she was raped. I have the recordings saying that her mom covered it up. Okay? I have all of it. It's all there. And so I also have the statements that her family is exceedingly connected to law enforcement. Isn't that funny that her stepdad used to be a Denton cop? Do you see how we're developing with this? Okay. And so why wouldn't you want to do a welfare check? Geez, I would like to think that any sergeant in front of any department, particularly one that's sitting there teaching a class in a seminar format, in the paper, would like to, the right thing to do, guys, is if somebody has a problem like this, somebody reports that they're under duress, you need to do a welfare check about this. Let alone, how is it harassment if I leave somebody a voicemail message and they call me back? The recording's already public, this son of a bitch, threatens me, okay? Says I'm going to be done, and if I ever see your face again, this, that, and the other. I told him straight up, man, I'll have the feds kick in your door for having all those guns at your house, and we know what you're doing, okay? And so
give me Alexia's address.
1506
Okay.
Live Oak. Okay?
Okay, that's here in Louisville, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
And what is her last
Davis. Her mother's name, which is actually a mandated reporter, and that she didn't report the crimes when the victim was young. Okay. Do you understand that? Are we clear on that, Courtney? Does that make sense?
You can refer to me as Sergeant Italian until we're sitting down breaking
Yes,
bread
ma'am.
together, having
Okay.
a conversation.
Well, I don't break bread like that, but I might. But here's the thing. I'm not trying to be rude to you. You know, I asked you if I can call you by your
That
first name.
have been a lot. You have been
Well,
a lot.
you know, we're talking about you're not caring about a rape, so I don't really have to. I'm trying to be polite to you as I can, Sarge. Okay.
No, you haven't been.
Okay. Well, forgive me for that. Okay. I've been invested in this case for over 4.5 years. Okay. So, get mad at me if you want, but just understand my position. Are you still there? You're still there.
I'm still here.
All right. So, do we understand each other? Like, this is something that you guys can really help another human being with, and they need your help. Okay. You know, I've dedicated myself to this thing selflessly, and it's foul. It's unsettling that you're not showing more interest in this, and then your officer says, you know, motherfucker to me and all this. Is that your protocol? Is that not a disciplinary action that you need to take against him? Do you encourage your officers to call me a motherfucker in the field?
You have said far worse to my dispatcher and to me this evening, Mr. Urban.
Yeah, and I'm not a badge-wearing police officer either.
Neither is our dispatcher. She's a civilian employee, and you were not very nice to her, and I don't appreciate that.
You'll have to forgive me for that. Okay? You know, we all need to think about this together then, don't we? Can we do that? Can we say, well, let's understand Eugene's position. He's been working on this for 5 years. He's released all this voluminous amount of information regarding this. He's been working this for this long. In fact, he even gave information about a connection between Collin and Denton counties, that they were putting people in charge of child sex crimes, that were actively involved in child sex crimes before Brian Gibbons got busted. And lo and behold, that son of a bitch, he got busted, didn't he? And they hooked him into the. Let me tell you something. We hooked into. I'm gonna give you a background of this op, because I'm already talking about this publicly, and you need to know. You know, when we got into the family violence unit in Plano, that's where Dockery was. Okay. We knew what they were involved in. You can hear me speaking to everybody from the FBI to the marshals about it. Okay, you can hear me put a call into the NSA about it. Okay, and release all that publicly. And so that information was all very important. And we did have that subsequent arrest. Now, are there really these ties to law enforcement? I mean, this isn't a matter of opinion. His dad runs the jail where he is. Come on. And so this is really what we're looking at here. And so you'll have to forgive my bias. You know, you can hear me out here talking to cops that love me, and I love them back. I've got tons of videos. This isn't about I'm anti-cop or any of this. Okay? It's that I have a problem with people that don't have the integrity to follow through and try to come at me like I'm doing something wrong for reporting a rape. Okay? Can we get on the same page with that? Sorry?
That I need to be caring and compassionate and care about a rape that happened years ago.
It didn't. I mean, the most recent rape was 5 years ago. Okay? It's something that has been ongoing.
So in 5 years, she's not been able to make a report to the police.
In 5 years, she's been terrified of her family, and it's completely fucked her life up. Okay? And so she is in a place. Do you know much about how the trauma affects victims of child sex abuse? Sorry?
Is that like a real question?
Yeah, I'm asking you. Do you understand how the trauma can make the victim compartment their psyche? It's called dissociative identity disorder. Okay? And they go into a compartmented state where the trauma that they've been through is so great, Sergeant, okay, that they're literally not able to look at it anymore. Okay? And we know that this is the case with Alexia, okay? And so for that to be exploited by a faction embedded in law enforcement for their intelligence or counterintelligence purposes may be the subject of this investigation to some degree. How's that? And so it's a pretty deep thing that I'm talking about here, but this is something that's done, and this isn't a matter of opinion. I could furnish you, CIA files about that kind of stuff that came out in the year and the month of my birth, all the way back to '77. And so there's much more than that today, Sergeant. And so, is this something that we really need in our society today? Is this something that you're complicit in or condoning of?
How dare you?
Well, I don't think so then. Okay, good. That's the right answer. God bless you for saying that. Okay, so I want you to understand my position, where I'm sitting and how I get angry. How dare you? I've been doing this for 5 years. Okay? And so we know that there's a faction embedded in law enforcement. And I'll tell you what, compassion and forgiveness and all of those things are real important for the perpetrators too. And I firmly believe that, because we get into these cycles of multi-generational abuse. And how do you break it with hate and anger? And so I need to remember that. And you know what? You sharpened me that way. Iron sharpens iron. I'm sure you're a tough lady. You're not somebody that I want to fuck with. I've got respect for you. I respect law enforcement. Okay? But I'm so wrapped up in this case that I keep getting stonewalled, and we already know why. We know, listen, the first time, and I've talked about this, the most recently to the DA's office over there in Hood County, an investigator called me, and I just ran circles around their poor dear. And it looks like DA over there, Sinclair's a real nice guy. But, the bottom line, ma'am, is I forgot where I was going with that. I don't know how to put this in the proper context for you. I mean, when she didn't even worry about the mandated reporter case, she agreed with me. She understood the compartmented aspects of the psyche. She understood all of that. She agreed with me that, you don't get raped when you're 39 by your dad if it's not something that hasn't, statistically, that's a very rare to have it not have been a recurring thing since childhood, typically. And so when she agreed with me on that, but didn't ask for the mandated reporter in that case, which was her mom, this sent up a red flag big time. It automatically escalated the investigation. And so this is what I'm going to tell you. Alexia reported the rape consensually with me already. And this will help you answer the question. Let me answer your question the best way I know how. I was inserted into Collin County Detention Facility before Frank got busted, before Brian got busted, after I made the statements that I made, and they gave me a social media ban on my case, which had no relevancy to my case, and it was unconstitutional. We'll deal with that soon. There's a series of lawsuits coming into Collin County, which you may be aware of right now, with the Rangers investigation, all the other stuff. And you can hear me say, hey, I'm talking to a deputy and sheriff at Skinners County, and I say, man, you know what? You forward this information to the Rangers and you let them know that I'm their point of contact on this information. Okay, you can hear me say that, and I'll send you that file. It's on YouTube. And, we're doing this as a matter of transparency for future generations, and it's important because there's so many different ways that we can use this for people to grow together. And again, the perpetrators, how many perpetrators that are in law enforcement are scared they don't want to be a part of it anymore, but they're stuck in this, thing that they're in. It gets pretty bad. And so here's the thing. I'm in Collin County. She calls me on the phone, and this is something that we had discussed this previously. And she reported the rape through the phones, and while I was in visitation with her, I went to the Defense Intelligence Unit in Collin County, had them, I requested that they get those files back and escalated up their chains of command regarding a rape. They did that. They stonewalled it. They shut it down, and there was many other things within the facility, but the individuals and in oversight of federal law enforcement, Sergeant, they were bullied out of the department. You see, the Skinner's department stonewalled these guys, got them out of the department. He's trying to save face in the media. We already know he does psychological operations in the media, bar none. We know this for a fact, and so. And we understand his media contacts and who they work with and all this other. It's a very multi-leveled thing. And so I'm giving you so much information right now because I want to bring you up to speed. You can brief your people and say, well, this guy knows all of this. You can balance this against what you guys know or what, this is how deep we are into the investigation, okay? And so this is kind of like phase 2. And it's important, Sergeant, for us to be objective, to work together, put aside our egos or whatever the hell you want to call it, and just have some kindness and some caring, right? About the victims, about the community. And so, you can see an interview that I did. I had a radio show. I've been on lots of radio shows, Courtney, but excuse my Sergeant. And you still there with me?
I am.
And I interviewed a guy who's got a YouTube channel called Predator Poachers Massachusetts, okay? And what he does is, this guy busted an active police chief, okay, soliciting sex to a minor by utilizing social media platforms. And the sergeant was on TV, okay, working a case where a young girl had gone missing. They found the girl, fortunately, but he's acting so concerned and all this. And meanwhile, literally simultaneously in the middle of this investigation, he's on TV and all this other stuff. I hope this doesn't make you want to throw up. I understand what I'm saying. He's working this thing on TV about a missing child, simultaneously texting my buddy who was, a decoy to lure in this guy. He didn't know he was a chief at that time. And trying to get into to the boy's mom's house, who he thinks is 14 years old, for sodomy, for to basically bend this kid over in his mom's house. Okay, and so what does that tell you? And he, according to the reports of my buddy who I did the show with, he's busted over 100. Child sex exploitation perpetrators on video. And he decimates the numbers of local law enforcement. When's the last time you guys did that? Never. And this is a problem. And so when a guy with a phone and a YouTube channel is running circles around people with fusion centers and, all of these different agencies at their disposal, I think it takes notice. And there's a lot of good people in those agencies, in these fusion centers, okay? A lot of them. And so not everybody's going to sit there and not say anything, but this culture of law enforcement that we find ourselves in local and state and, county and federal, I mean, it's throughout, but they all have their own idiosyncrasies and unique aspects to them. But this culture of, I'm not going to say anything because it's kind of like high school, right? Like, don't fuck with those guys because they're in another clique and blah, blah, blah. We don't need that shit in law enforcement. It's destructive to the community. And so we've seen this and identified this. And long story short, when they didn't report it in Collin County, we went in there and snatched up Frank. We came over there and got Gibbons and said, hey, here we are. We're looking at you and this is what we know you're doing. And so this is where we are now. And it's a real moment for me to have a conversation with you like a sergeant on this. When I'm actively involved in this investigation for so long, I've got a victim here who is the sweetest thing you have ever met in your fucking life. She has been tortured by these fucking people that are covering this up. Okay? And I have witnessed this. And it's intolerable. It's unacceptable. It's not going to continue. Okay? And so they need to let her the fuck out of that house. You guys need to do a welfare check, get the statement from her about the rape when she knows that she doesn't have to be scared anymore. She knows she can take the fuck off. So let me tell you this. Once you go get that statement, she's ready to go. Okay? Really, Joey, I asked Joey, I said, Joey, you go and tell her that you knew about the fucking rape, you're covering up for it, and then you tell her to go. That's what I'm asking him to do because I know he knows. Okay? I know he's covering up for it. And, I'll tell you, you can hear me on the radio fucking 10 years ago talking about how I was born into the fucking CIA, lady. Okay? And I don't know if you know what that means to be born in to some shit that I'm in, okay? But you don't have access to my dossier. Anything you do have access to is my fucking cover. Excuse my language, okay? And so the caliber of the information that I work with, the caliber of the contacts and the connections that we have are the best, the very best. And so I don't know how to articulate that to you in a way that you'll understand it. But maybe it's real easy when you can go back and listen to, well, how did he know about this connection between Collin and Denton? He's talking about all these things. He's got Officer Bacon on the line, which is so funny, right? It was just like an inside joke. This guy's name is Bacon and he's a cop. And he totally mishandled it. And when we get into the judiciary aspect of this, come on. Okay? Come on. I can assure you there's people out there that don't fucking like it, and we've seen it, and we know what goes on. And so this stuff has to stop, man. We're talking about multi-generational curses on the earth. I don't know what you believe in, and I'm not going to preach at you, but my faith, the prayers that I say and the prayers that other people say for me keep me alive, okay? And, you know, frankly, we've seen these other people out there that are involved with, irrespective to what you believe or don't believe, these guys are, you know, involved with ritualistic worship of, I don't know what you want to identify it as. I mean, you're grown, demonic entities, the devil, Satan, Lucifer, all of the above. And as nasty or as far out as that might sound, this is a problem. So I would encourage you to look up, you know, intelligence community looking at Satanism or, you know, those key words, and you'll see the Office of Director of National Intelligence has taken an interest in this. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing that that's happened. And so, again, I'm not law enforcement. I can say I'm born into this, and you know, I don't have a fucking badge. I mean, do you know what a spook is? You know, I erase shit. Okay, you know, I erase shit, and so it's a trip. It's a trip to talk to you about this, Sarge. And I'm recording this. I'll release this. I'm not afraid of anything that you're gonna hear me say. You know, I've been saying it for years, and nobody's come and fucking snatched me out and taken me anywhere. You know, it's the other way around, huh? And so I appreciate the work that you do. What are we going to do about this situation is what I need to know from you.
As soon as I get off the phone, I'll be sending some officers over to do a welfare check on Alexia.
Okay, I need you to make sure that she's okay. I need you to specifically ask her about the rape. Can you do that for me?
Yeah, that'll happen.
Okay. I love you. Okay.
We can't force her to speak.
No, you can't, but you need to let her know that it's okay and you're trying to get her the help that she needs and that her family should not be covering up for this. Can I get your officers to do that?
I will do my best to encourage them in that direction.
Do you want to let me speak with them before they go?
No.
Okay. All right. I appreciate this very much. And you were like an answered prayer tonight. Okay. And so I know you're sitting there for a reason right now. I don't know what to tell you. Are you from Louisville or?
No.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. You teach me a lot. I need to slow down sometimes. You know what? Even Alex was telling me they're not going to listen to you if you're angry. She told me that. And so please be gentle with her. She needs it. And she has been abused. Okay. She has been abused by the people in her family, and they'll sit there and smile on your fucking face about it. Okay. And so, it is that bad. And she has these compartmented aspects of the psyche. Look up dissociative identity disorder. I mean, she'll switch back and forth, and it'll probably trigger her when you guys go over there. Okay? And so, be gentle. Listen, Joey is heavily fucking armed. I mean, he's got over 60 guns in the house. Okay? He's a gunsmith, all of that. It's a volatile situation. He was very angry tonight. And so just let's be careful. Okay? I mean, this is a dangerous situation for her. This is why I don't want her there. And so
I don't think I don't think Joey's angry with us. I think Joey's angry with you. So
why would he be? Well, ask yourself, why would he be angry about a rape committed by her father? Does that make sense to you? Does that jive with you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It doesn't jive with anybody with a good head on their shoulders, man. You know, it's just not right. Okay. And so there's some other information concerning him. I don't really need to get into that with you right now, but he's a part of some things that they're trying to protect, and it's corrupt. Okay. I'm going to tell you that. Okay. And so I'm going to call you back. Is that okay?
Well, I may or may not be in the office. I'm supposed to be out on the street, and once I get the officers in motion to go check on this lady, then I don't know that I will be at this desk.
I'll tell you what, can you call me back after that welfare check is complete since I put the call in?
All right, what number can I call you at?
430 207
Got it.
1696.
All right, I will let you know when it's done.
Thank Thanks so much.
All right. Bye-bye.
That is amazing.